Hey guys, today we're going to work on the second part to our type portraits. And this time we are going to open up our Photoshop file into Adobe Illustrator. So right here you can see me opening up my pictures of mittens from our first video. I'm going to open this guy up. Now I'm going to flatten it into one image for this. So I'm going to click on this guy and I'm going to press OK. Okay, and as you can see, here's Mittens chilling in Adobe Illustrator. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is find my toolbar because it's on a different screen. There it is. Okay, and then I'm going to find my artboard. Now, for this project, we want it to be 11 by 17. As you can see, we're really small, so I'm going to change it up here. So I'm going to do 17 inches wide because my picture is longer rather than taller, and 11 inches tall. Now we're choosing these because this is the paper I have to print on for this class, so we want to make it as big as we can. Okay, so I'm going to press OK. And as you can see, if I zoom out pressing Control minus, Mittens is small. So what we're going to do is we are going to reposition her. We are going to hold Shift because we do not want our picture to get wonky, so we're holding Shift to constrain our proportions, and we are going to make her big. So let's take a look. Yep, looking much better. And we're going to press OK. Or not OK. Okay, just reposition her back into spot. Okay, looks good. And we are ready to start. Now, I'm going to have my layers open for this because the layers are the most important part of this project. So we want to have them open at all times because you're going to be switching between multiple layers. So this layer palette is super important. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to image trace Mittens. So up at the top, because I am on Essentials Classic, this is the one I choose to use most of the time. Okay, I've got this image trace icon. So I'm going to click on it, and what it's going to do is it is going to essentially trace our image into a vectorized pattern. Now, this would be great if I was doing like a rubber stamp, but we need more layers than this. So right next to image trace, you have this image trace panel that I'm going to click on. It's going to give you a panel that looks like this. And this is where we're going to be changing our information. Now, what I like to do is I like to default to the 6 color. And what it's going to do is now it's going to break down our image into 6 different colors. So I'm taking a look at that. And sometimes it does take a second. And I'm deciding if I am happy or not with this, I guess, idea. Okay, also if you want to click on advanced, you can ask it to ignore the white. In this case, we are choosing not to ask it to do this. We want it to keep the white. Okay, so white does count as one of our 6 colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go up to 7. Okay, because we are using white as one of our colors. Okay, so now it's going to change it from a 6-layer posterization to a 7-layer posterization. Okay, it's going to give me one more tone. Okay, so there we go. Just a little bit more detail, and I definitely like this one better. Okay, so here we go. I am done with the layers panel, so I'm going to close that guy up. Okay, I am going to click on expand. It's going to trace all of my shapes. It should look like this. And then I'm going to go to Object Ungroup because right now they're grouped all together. Now, once you ungroup it, everything's going to be separate. So if I click on a shape, I can easily pull it out from the rest of the shapes, which is what I'm going to be doing now. Okay, so in order to get all of my different tones on separate layers, because I want a separate layer for this really, really dark gray, separate layer for this medium gray, for the white, all of that fun stuff. So I'm going to just add a couple more layers. And if I want, I can come in here and say, you know, dark gray or black, depending on what you have. Okay, I could go medium gray and I could label all of these, but for the most part, I don't really do that because it's easy to, you know, click on it and turn the eye on and off to see which layer you're working on. Okay. So to grab all of these shapes that are the same color, we're going to use this tool. It's called the Magic Wand tool. It's kind of awesome. Before I start using it though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on it and I'm going to look at the tolerance. So if we look at our tolerance right here, it is set to 32 and that's pretty high. So we're going to turn it down to probably 10, maybe even 5. So let me start with 10. Okay, and let's take a look at how this goes. So I'm set at a tolerance of 10. I've got my magic wand tool, and I'm going to click on all of these dark shapes. And as you can see, it only selected those dark shapes. Now for me, I am then going to pull these dark shapes off this image, okay, and put them on that dark gray layer. So I'm going to press Control X, which is cut. Okay, click on this dark gray layer. And I'm actually going to press Control F, which means it is going to paste it directly in front of where it was. So you can see now, if I turn this off, okay, only my dark shapes are on that gray layer. Okay, so that looks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock that layer for now. I'll come back to it later, and I'll turn it off so I know where I'm at next. Okay, so I'm going to find the next darkest shade, which looks to be this guy right here. I'm going to click on it, and as you can see, it actually highlighted 2 shades, so our tolerance is still too high. So let's turn this down. Let's try 5. Okay, grab my magic wand tool again, find the darkest shade. Now it's only grabbing that shade, so we're good. So once again, Control X, next layer, Control F, and you can see it's now on the green layer because it's highlighted in green. So I'm going to lock that down and turn it off so I can see what to do next. Okay, so the next darkest color, grabbing that guy, Control X, next layer, Control F. Okay, it's on the blue, lock, turn off. Back to my original, next darkest layer, this guy, looking good, Control X, Control F, lock, turn off. Okay, and we're very close to being done. Okay, Control X, one more time, Control F, lock and turn off. Okay, and then I'm going to grab this one, Control X, and Control F. Okay, and you can see it is now locked and turned off. So what we have left, okay, is a white background, which we don't need. Okay, and do we have anything left on our layer? Yes, we have those couple of white shapes. Now we want to keep those. So I'm going to relabel this layer as my white layer. Okay, and you'll see why later. There's like a method to this madness. Okay, so we know our white shapes are there. Okay, we are going to lock this down and turn it off for now. So, okay. So let's start with our dark layer. So here's where we start making our clipping mask. Now, I might run out of time on this video, but at least I can get you started with how to make these clipping masks. So I'm going to grab my text box. I'm going to make sure I am on the dark gray layer. All the other layers are locked, so I can't mess with them. And I'm going to make a text box that's big enough to color all of my shapes. Okay, which this one is. Then I'm going to pick words that describe my cat. In your case, it'd be a picture of you, so you're going to pick words that describe yourself. Maybe it's your name, maybe it's things you like, all of that fun stuff. So here's mittens. So the first one's going to be easy. It's just going to be mittens. And I am going to write mittens a whole bunch of times. Mittens, mittens, mittens. I'm just copying and pasting. But the trick with this is our darkest layer, so we want to make it look as dark as possible. So what we're going to do is we are going to choose a really bold font. So let's find a super bold one. Okay, we are going to make it bigger. We are going to make it a lot closer together. So I'm looking at things like the tracking, the kerning, the leading. You know, all of my spacing is going to get a lot closer together. So I'm going to make this even more closer on top of each other together. But you still want it to be legible. So you need to find that balance between can I still read it and is it dark enough? Okay, so that's looking pretty good, nice and bold. Okay, and I am going to copy some more of that because I need it to cover the whole group of shapes. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I get rid of that hyphens. Those hyphens, I don't like those. Okay. So it looks like I need one more paste. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Undo. Okay, so we should be good to make our clipping mask. So I've got my text layer on top of all my shapes. Now remember what we said about clipping masks. The shape needs to be on top of the objects you are going to clip to. So my text box needs to be on top of all of those cat shapes that I put down first. So I'm going to highlight everything, right click, make clipping mask. Now it's going to say, this is complex, and you're going to say, yes, I know. Okay, so you can see now that we've got a clipping mask, and it has clipped to our shapes. Now this one, because it's so condensed, is a little hard to see, but you get the idea. Now if I want to, I can click on these things later, and I can release the clipping mask. See, release clipping mask, undo clipping mask. Okay, so pretty easy. Now that one's good, so I'm going to move on to my next one. So I'm going to turn the next one on, make it visible, unlock it, make sure I'm on the layer, do my next text box. Okay, now it's pulling in the same fonts as before, and this time I'm going to write cat. Okay, I'm going to copy it a whole bunch of times. Cat, 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 cat. Now because there's no space, let's see, character, or is it paragraph? It's in paragraph. I'm going to unclick this hyphenate because I don't want it. Okay, and I can keep going. But this time I'm going to change to a different font. One that's still bold, but maybe not like quite as bold. I'm going to try to pull it out a little bit more. So that one's still pretty bold. Maybe this one. This one's good. Okay, and once again, I can play with the size. Okay, maybe I want to make it a little bigger this time. Okay, maybe I want to space it out slightly differently. Let's do 40. Okay. And I'm going to highlight it all. Control C. Okay, and I'm going to fill my space. Now I need to pull this down so I get that last level in, which I do. Everything's good to go. So I'm going to highlight everything. Right click, make clipping mask. Okay, and I've got my second one done. And you can see cat. Okay, in some of those areas. The other thing you can do, which I think is really cool, is if you wanted to, you could use our rotate tool and you could rotate your text as long as it's covering everything. So I'm going to pull this out just a little bit. So it's covering all my shapes, and now I do need to do another paste really quick. Okay, and once again, highlight everything, make clipping mask. Okay, and then it adds just a little bit more dimension. Now I'm going to press pause. I'm going to work through the other files, and then I'll be... Okay, so this is what it looks like when we're all done. Let me show you that final layer. So I'm going to click on my lightest layer, and if I toggle it on and off, you can see the difference. I'm going to release this quick clipping mask just really quick. Oop, I should probably unlock it. Okay, and you can see that my letters were a lot skinnier and a lot closer together, which is what you want to end on, something that reads really light from far away. So this is the final product. Okay, I'm going to lock this down so I don't keep clicking on it. But this is my Mittens kitten done in our font selections. So this is what you will be working on in class. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be here to help.